genre of the games. I'm reading visual novels. I really like them very much. So today we are going to read Psy. We already read 2 seasons, so it's the 3rd season. We almost ended it. 7th episode. This episode will be kind of interesting. I hope so. Maybe the next one, guys. I don't remember, to tell the truth. Maybe the next one. But we will go out of the city on the zone that, you know, Stalker, like a book. I don't know. It's about you know, it was a big bada boom. It's about how to say it in English, like electrostation boomed. And what do we have then? This catastrophe. Yeah, what do we have then? Like animals with 2 heads, these things. No. Так. Wait. In Russia. Mutations. Maybe. Yeah. So, they are not going outside. Maybe there are no mutations, but like not only mutations. Why this mutation happened? Chernobyl, yes, Chernobyl. Radiation! Yes, radiation, guys. Radiation. So, they can't go outside of the city because of the radiation. So, they are living in a small piece of Earth, guys. They are living in a very small piece of Earth because of the radiation. That's why most of the time they are not going. They will go out now, guys. Out. Finally. I'm not sure it will be interesting for you, but it is what it is. But it will be interesting for me. At least. Okay, the music like that. So, let's go. I hope you are not crying, Mladen. Episode 7, 3rd season. Lou sees eyes in the dark. Okay, for our new people, totally not. Okay, bye. Okay, so I will not explain then. Have a nice day. Blood manifest. Equal rights imply equal responsibility. Oh, not have a nice good night, I mean. Good night. Not have a nice day. Farouk. People who are liked by everyone scare me. Okay. Episode 7. Quiet. I want to delete these. I want to delete these. Wait, 1 second. Romance Club. Now you don't see the mouse. Episode 7. Quiet. Before anyone could object, Lou added. As we know, there are no good roads outside the perimeter. Obviously, you will be using a car with very high cross-country specs, but if it gets stuck, I can help. I forget to change to Romance Club. Wait. Romance Club. Again, Romance Club. Works. I can help. What if there is a blocked path that needs to be cleared? That will also be easier with telekinesis. Mark shrugged and looked at Ivo. Everyone knew that Lou was right, and they had nothing to say against it. The prior nodded. That's reasonable. Fine, since you volunteered, you will go as the second guard. Excuse me, Monsieur Martin, do you have any idea how to find the right place? Absolutely. Daniel, we will need to conduct data analysis. Firstly, the laboratory would need to be at a location with the right kind of facilities. It would have been impossible to keep a large-scale construction project secret. This means that they must have re-equipped an existing structure. Guys, let's remember, Vicar, the head of the church, said that there were some experiments, yes? And they want to go to that place and see what exact experiments they had. We're looking for a complex or a large building, probably one with basements. Maybe a relatively preserved industrial or military facility, an institute or a clinic. That's your first criterion. The second is that equipment must have been delivered there from New Paris. However, regular helicopter flights are very expensive and would have been too visible to any casual observer. The conspiracy would have been too obvious. So there should be a road there that was fairly well preserved from pre-storm times. However, it must be taken into account that the project was shut down a long time ago, so the road may now be considered unusable. Focus on reports from about 50 years ago. The third criterion is electricity. Gasoline-based generators consume too much fuel. I'd be willing to bet on a hydraulic turbine. Ivo looked at Mark. He nodded thoughtfully in agreement. If that is the case, there should be a river nearby. Yeah, me too, Mirai vibes. But just in case, check for cities that may have installed solar panels. They could have been spotted from a helicopter during scheduled research flights. You never know. And the fourth criterion is the distance from the perimeter. The idea is as follows. The further away it was, the more significant the supply costs would have been, and the less likely it is to be the place we are looking for. Sounds easy enough. I should have the results by the morning. I will also throw in a topographic grid and calculate approximate routes to different points. Excellent idea, Mademoiselle Weiss. Even those who serve at the perimeter only know well a small portion of the forest. We had obviously have to go further than that, and it's easy to get lost there. Eva nodded. There is no point in waiting. Your documents will also be available by morning. You should leave immediately tomorrow, as it will take some time for you to reach the perimeter. If several possible locations are identified, check the most likely ones first. Excuse me, how far? Are there any roads? Are there many roads left outside the perimeter? No, less than a dozen going in different directions. Some of them are not very long. Others can take you hundreds of kilometers away. However, they also end up interrupting eventually. They are either completely overgrown or washed out, or they lead to destroyed bridges or localized radioactive zones. Mark? Yes? Reserve a car in your name and gather the necessary supplies. And take Farouk off duty today. Let him rest. Yes, Monsieur Martin. Lou, the same goes for you. Tell Hector that I have relieved you from your duty. Yves asked Jean-Pierre to stay. Danielle and the psionic stood up. Lou was the last one to leave the office, and she heard. How are things with you and your wife? Mark's voice grew quieter. Things are fine. I wouldn't have her to feel that you are becoming distant. I have maintained every aspect of my relationship with her. Sorry, Mark. Yes, guys, his wife kinda playing the different team. His wife is on the side of the head of the church. Already on her way to her desk, Danielle suddenly turned around. Lou, what are you doing here? Hey, I'm talking to you. If she hung around in the halfway any longer, it would have started to look strange. Lou smiled as she walked away from the door. Nothing, just eavesdropping a bit. Why would he need to sleep with someone who will essentially be sentenced to death? After all, Martin won't pardon her, or will he? Jean-Pierre has no luck with women, and yet both of the women he is being with are outstanding. Maybe his wife doesn't know about those experiments. Big red flag. Maybe. I'll try not to spoil her. I can't say, but I'm not sure about does she know or no. After saying goodbye to her colleagues, Lou headed home. I don't remember that, but I know one thing about the vicar. Maybe I already can't say it because it's not kind of spoiler. If you want, I will say. Taking advantage of the free evening, Lou decided to go for a drive. She needed a distraction, something to make her feel that she had control over her life again. She needed to connect to her inner self, to speed to the road. Lou placed a bottle of water in the trunk and rolled the motorcycle toward the open door. Suddenly, with a raised eyebrow, she stopped. A completely unexpected idea popped into her head. Should I invite Jonas to come along? Lou bit her lip, thinking, analyzing her momentary desire. And as usually there would be nothing strange about inviting someone to ride with you, but not in moments like that one, and not in that sort of mood. She had never wanted to share her solitude before. She had never even thought about it until that night. I will call him. Of course. Her mind, unused to that feeling, cautiously agreed with her heart. I need to see him, just to have him around. Lou met Jonas at the center. She stopped her bike and gave him a quick greeting. How are you? She silently handed him a helmet. I see. After the healer settled in behind her, Lou twisted her wrist. Let's go. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy. Chloe, we are going to Disneyland. Acceleration. The rushing air around them pressed their claws to their bodies. Faster, more. Jonas hugged Lou tighter. Away, away, whispered her soul. Get away from the cramped city streets. Wait, guys. Now there are a lot of memes with these. There is a trend. Chinese guys on the motorcycles. You saw it? Maybe. Chinese guys on the motorcycles made a trend. Like people pay. I wanted to show. Okay, next time I will show. People pay and they like make very funny videos with it. Not very funny. They should be cool, but people are funny. So that's why it is funny. I will show you next time. I want to see the same thing with Lou and Jonas. Away, away, whispered her soul. Get away from the cramped city streets. Oh, yes, the highway. There was the slight hum of the engine and music in her ears. Through her jacket, she could feel the warmth of a man. My man. The acceptance, that awareness. That acceptance, that awareness. It seems to break the iron cables inside her. Suddenly, her tight tangle of confused emotions unraveled on its own, highlighting one specific thread. All she needed to do was so allow herself to relax, to let go, to stop trying to figure things out. Her rebellious heart, struggling to understand itself and aching at every thought of Jonas, suddenly began to beat faster. It had just won the right to love. Suddenly, it felt simple and easy. The curb merged with the road into one single strip, and Lou was no longer driving. She was almost flying, and the road was nothing but a formality. Speed and freedom pulsed in her blood. That feeling would frighten many people, but to Lou, it was soothing. All the difficult questions that tormented her disappeared. Disappeared, leaving only faith in herself, her will, and the person she loved. As she rushed along the highway, Lou smiled, looking at the golden strip of sky above her. Let's go. The motorcycle rushed along the overpass and turned off the main road. It wandered between villages and came to a stop at a grove. Jonas took off his helmet and smiled rarely. Well, did you let off some steam? Lou pulled off her helmet too. Lou and Jonas have a very close relationships. The healer looked at her. Why are you looking at me so weird? How? I'm telling you, it's weird. You are ready to support me and take my side even when you don't agree with me. It's interesting to discuss things with you. You're responsible and you grumble a lot. Sometimes I want to kill you, sometimes I just want you. Lou, how did I not see this? You have always been there. She touched his blonde, unruly hair. She smiled not at her own thoughts but at the sensation and gently said, It's nothing. I was just thinking. He narrowed his eyes suspiciously but asked no questions. She pulled out her cigarettes and flicked and the lighter. Handing the pack to Jonas, she asked, Yes, she's weird. Aren't you tired? Jonas finished lighting a cigarette and shook his head. No. Then let's go to a lake or a pond. The weather is good, so it should be warm. Although, of course, the places near the city where you can relax by the water all have an entrance fee. But it will be quiet there, and the shore won't be overgrown. So what do you say? I say it's my treat. Lou laughed. Okay, then I'll buy the snacks. I don't remember that. Only the asphalt, slightly better paved than elsewhere, indicated that the area was private. There were no buildings and no lights, just faded signs. So we can kiss here. Going deeper into the small forest, the psionics drove to a crescent-shaped lake. We're here. They hadn't seen any other visitors along the way. Jonas stared at the fog drifting over the water. Damn, it's beautiful. Yeah. He took the food they bought out of the trunk and spread out on the sand the towel they also purchased from the store. He handed the other towel to Lou. She didn't take it. Aren't you going to swim? You know, I think I'll watch you thirst. Lou narrowed her eyes slyly. Do you think the water is cold? No, not at all. Loser. She quickly undressed with a grin. After giving Jonas a look of fake contempt, she headed toward the lake. Her expression changed as soon as the water reached mid-calf level. Lou froze. Damn, why is it so cold? Not wanting to admit defeat and return to the shore with her tail between her legs, she ran deeper into the water with a wild squeal and swam several feet. She heard, "You're a maniac!" Her body gradually got used to it, and the water seemed warmer now. Lou turned around and waved at Jonas. Come on, it's great. It's only cold at first. Jonas approached the shore, bent down, and tested the water with his hand. No, Lou, nature and fresh air are nice, but I'm not going swimming. Wanna bet? Coming out of the water, so it reached only her waist, Lou threw her head back. Drops of water rolled like sparkling diamonds over her skin. Glittering her wet paths outlined her breasts, running in streams along her ribs down to her navel and lower. That's why the name of the game is Romance Club, guys. Lou glanced at Jonas again, her eyes filled with desire. He shook his head, staring at her toned, graceful body. You look unreal right now. You know, like a spirit or a mythical creator. Lou smoothly swayed her hips, dispersing the water around her, and slowly approached him. If you hear the guitar solo, guys, it means the romantic scene started. Steve Vai is playing. She placed his warm hand on her chest and made him squeeze. Then, slyly and confidently, she asked, Yes. Tender surrender. Unreal? Who is more real than I am? Then, tightening her head, she added with a touch of arrogance, Jonas, I am more than real. She was teasing him. Warm, wet, right in front of you. Moving his hand to her waist, the healer let out a deep breath. Lou, I like it. The challenge in Lou's gaze immediately turned into uncertainty. Do you really like me? Jonas suddenly grew serious. Instead of answering, he carefully whipped her shoulders dry with a towel, then wrapped her in it. Lou was silent. It had become a little awkward. Well, now I have pressured him with my question, why? Jonas's voice sounded different. It didn't sound like when he was excited or being mischievous or not even harsh. It was unusual, soft and gentle, intimate and enveloping. Lou, you know me. He grinned. better than anyone. There is no point in trying to get out of this or resist. I'm just going to tell it to you straight, okay? He will. Lou nodded. Jonas looked into her eyes and spoke. When I say I like you, I'm lying. I love you! Her breath caught in her throat. And then tears trembled in her eyes. What the fuck, tears, guys? Are you going to... Or you will cry? Okay, let's go. She was loved. Okay, you can cry. Of course, you have traumas. I know, girl. You can cry. Let's cry a little bit. He loved her. Jonas. Lou took a deep breath in. Her parted lips tried to say something, but her excitement made it impossible to put her thoughts into words. But it didn't matter. There was much more in her eyes that could be said with words. Jonas pulled her close and hugged her. Lou snuggled into his chest and stilled, listening to his heart pa-pum, 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 pa-pum. She knew for certain that in the whole wide world, she didn't need anyone but him. She didn't need anyone else at all. They stood there in the silence of the summer night until Jonas asked, "Aren't you cold?" Lou shook her head. No. Then she admitted honestly, "I just feel stupid, all wet in this towel." Jonas answered using Lou's own words. "You are warm, wet, right in front of me. What can possibly be wrong?" Raising her chin deep faintly, Lou lightly whacked him in the side with her hand. "Stop it." Taking a breath, he agreed. "Okay." He began to unfasten his belt. "What are you doing?" "Undressing." "Why?" "Oh! This will sound strange, but I will do it in solidarity. We have a scene, we were swimming with Jonas, you remember? On the swimming pool." Lou burst out laughing. "So I finally pursued you. To do what?" "To go swimming. You won't just walk around naked on the beach." "Are you sure about that?" "Yes." Will you go into the water on your own, or do I have to make you?" "Stop talking like you're at work." Cursing, Jonas stepped into the water. Then he smiled suddenly and turned around. "You know, Lou, with our jobs, we don't have to spend money on costumes if we want to role play." "Okay. We can just wear our uniforms." "Come on." After swimming, they sat and talked about nothing. They reminisced about boarding school and talked about life. Lou hadn't talked like that in ages. A long, heart-to-heart talk, or maybe she had never talked like that ever. As they moved from topic to topic, Lou suddenly said, "Jonas, I'm going on a trip for work." Then she added, as if deciding to plunge into cold water again, "When I come back, I will have to tell you something that I shouldn't tell you." Why do it then?" "Because I have no right to hide it from you either." "That sounds complicated." "You have no idea, but I need your opinion, really, seriously, more than ever." "Okay, and actually, you know what?" Lou smiled, guessing what he was about to say. You can't stand my stupid job? Ah, yes. He leaned toward her and touched her ear with his lips, giving her goosebumps. Come on, let's talk about that later. I want you. Okay. Pulling her toward him, Jonas began to cover her neck and collarbones with kisses. Then he placed his hands on her knees. He kissed them, then moved higher. Guys, that scene is very long. I also thought so. Okay, on the beach. Okay. Close your eyes. Hug Jonas. Close your eyes. We were hugging already. Lou's fingers gently weightlessly slide along Jonas's lower back, along his spine. We're not hugging. Lou. Jonas. His hot breath was exciting her. He took his time, tracing the hollow of her chest with his tongue. Then slowly he began to descend toward her navel. Lou arched her back, surrendering to pleasure. As if by chance, he brushed his palm over the sensitive skin between her thighs. Then he immediately moved his hand. It's so strange to read it today. I don't know why. It was just slow motion. Yes, Toilet Road, it is Romance Club. And in the game we are playing now, Mervain, they will also have it. Get ready. So guys, we are adults here now. Yes, so let's read. It was just a small motion, meant either to tease her or provoke her. I don't understand English so well. I don't understand what are they doing a little bit. Sometimes. I'm just reading, guys. Luke could clearly feel how much Jonas wanted. Okay, I understand. I understand sometimes. As she smiled and gently touched him, he let out a quiet moan. Gradually, her movements grew more confident and persistent. Meanwhile, Jonas' hands kept moving at the same pace. They looked at each other, lying on their sides, slowly driving each other crazy with each new touch. Jonas moaned again, and Lou felt his fingers inside her. Okay. Baby. Jonas. Baby. It's first time you calling me baby. I want... Guys, I will let you two choose. What do you want? 1, 2, 3, guys. Let's vote. Vote, guys, on the chat. Let's go. All of him. One to let Jonas pleasure me. Mango Flames, let's go. What will you choose today? Okay, Mirai Vibes, we will get all of him now. Not giving herself any rest, Lou wrapped her legs around the Hila and pressed her whole body against his. Wait. Impatient. Come on. His movements were smooth but immediately deep. I love. We have pictures here, guys. Yes. She leaned forward. I love you. He moved again, just as smoothly and confidently. His measured pace, like an oncoming wave, almost put her in a surreal trance. Luke could feel every inch of Jonas' body. I don't know. It is illegal. Her thin, heated skin could feel his every protruding vein. Where, completely losing control, Lou dug her nails into his back, leaving red trails behind. He grabbed her wrists. He kissed her hands and pressed them above Lou's head. Lou, half delirious with pleasure, frowned. Then she moaned loudly. Jonas changed the rhythm, adding clear, sharp accent that felt almost painful. Their passion, the heat of their intertwined bodies, her mind clouded by a slightly angry and demanding tenderness. The lake or shore and that summer night belonged to them, and the stars protected them, remembering how beautifully and selflessly close that couple was. Guys, when I said that the next episode will be interesting, I didn't mean that. But that was also interesting. Well done. Their departure went as planned. That's all, guys. Let's go to work now. Getting ready didn't take much time. She tried on a set of clothes that had been prepared for her. Overalls. Oh, I really like it. Very beautiful. Special suit. Protective suit. I like overalls. Looks very cool. Looks cool. Then she figured out of what to do with her hair. Guys, it's tell it. Yes. Yes, I also like. Guys, it's a part of adults' life. Yes, some people do that. I don't know that people, of course, but some people do that. So thanks for follow. Adult people do that sometimes. Strange things. So yes, that's why on the novel we are also reading about it, because they are adult and they can do that. Yes. Lucky people. I heard some when I was living. I heard a girl who was making strange noises. Maybe also she was doing it. I don't know that people. I only heard how girl was doing that. When I was living, like my, like, you know, she was living on the next floor. I have, yes, upper neighbors. So maybe she made it, yeah. But I don't know how she looks. So I don't know the people, guys. But on the game, we can read about it, at least. Yes. Then she figured out what to do with her hair. I can't read it without laughing, guys. I can't. Bandana. Hello, Karma. No, bandana bad. Stupid. Okay then. I'm okay. As expected, there weren't many locations to check out, just 2. The rest either didn't meet some of Evo's criteria or were too far away. The first was an electronic equipment factory built shortly before the genetic storm. The second one was a military base located in the opposite direction. Based on available data, the factory looked more promising. For the expedition, they took a SUV with a hybrid engine. On the song you requested to learn, also I remember that SUV with a hybrid engine, emergency solar panels, a winch, and a spacious trunk filled to capacity. They brought cans of gasoline, tools, backpacks with medicine and dry rations and weapons. Mark had visited the perimeter checkpoints more than once in the past, accompanied by Farouk. And of course, the prior's secretary and bodyguard could both be recognized after being seen on TV. That was why they had to change their appearances. The photos in their documents matched their new looks and were meant to satisfy the AC officers at the border. There was no reason for deeper investigation. Some mediocre scientist's expedition was a routine thing. Farouk was driving. The man had a wig on like everyone else and constantly rubbed his shaved chin. Monsieur Jonsieur, can we play some music? Mark sat in the front seat. In addition to the wig, and in contrast to Farouk, he had acquired a beard, a fake one, of course. I don't mind. Will you wear wigs? Maybe. Wiz was nervous, glancing out the window every now and then. Frowning with her false eyebrows, she periodically straightened her clothes, which were just as unusual for her and as they were for Mark. What about the others? What? Music, of course. Turn it on. The road made Lou feel sleepy and she yawned. No problem. Lou, what are you wearing, darling? Conspiration on the highest level, guys. No, they do not look strange at all. No, but we are wearing wigs now because we are going out of the perimeter. And we should have they shouldn't know that we are AC corpus. Like we are like scientists with wigs, strange haircuts, yes. So we are kind of scientists. Just police shouldn't recognize that we are exploring. Her last expedition beyond the perimeter had passed without accident, and Lou was almost calm. She had no doubt that the wild nature was deadly and dangerous, but she wasn't afraid of it. She was only cautious and focused. Lou patted her pockets and took out her phone. There is no use for these outside the perimeter, right? Jonsieur spoke in a slightly dissatisfied manner, which was his usual tone. You can use them to reflect sunlight. Danielle rolled her eyes and smiled. I see. She turned her phone off and put it away. Farouk, keeping his eyes on the road, said, Only walkie-talkies work there. Everything has been set up. The first channel is the main one. Spare batteries are in the backpacks. We shouldn't split up, but just in case, maps of the area are loaded into the tablets. Can everyone use a compass? In general, yes. Mark turned to the women. Without being condescending, he asked in a serious and calm tone, "Do you want me to remind you of the rules of conduct outside the perimeter?" "Monsieur Jonsieur, that would be useful. Don't touch anything without gloves. Do not taste anything. Do not scratch or touch your eyes." Yes, guys, we are going to the zone. I already forget that word. It can be dangerous. In places where there are radiation, yeah. In places where there are a lot of flowering plants, wearing masks is mandatory. It's hot, but you shouldn't unbutton your clothes. It minimizes your chances of getting an insect bite. Nothing bad will happen if you get bitten, but you will have to stop and receive a painful injection. Immediately report the slightest damage to your skin or change in health to me or Farouk. Farouk suddenly added, "It's also best not to drink any alcohol." Mark glanced sideways at the officer in surprise. The women, also slightly confused, looked at each other. Luke shrugged. "Nobody brought any." Blinking, Jonsieur asked, "Have you sorted out the first aid kits?" "Of course." "Use injectors based on allergy symptoms and the location of the affected area. White if it's skin. Yellow if it's the digestive tract." Guys, remember. Maybe we will need that information. "Red for the airways." Will you remember, guys? I will forget. Right. Farouk kept his eyes on the road and said, "It's a long drive, so you can sleep for now. You won't be able to do it outside the perimeter. The road is too bumpy." Daniel was clearly not in the mood to sleep. Mark took out a sandwich and ate it while melancholically looking out the window. He watched the greenhouses and solar panel fields pass by. Then he fidgeted, made himself more comfortable in his seat, and closed his eyes. Lou straightened her wig and tried to sleep too, but as luck would have it, she couldn't doze off even though she wanted to. A few hours later, they reached the perimeter. The checkpoint they had chosen to pass through was not much different from the one Lou had seen in the vicinity of the village of La Grosse. A document check followed. The seals on their papers were genuine and their pass numbers corresponded to those in the AC database, which meant that they were issued according to the Inquisition's regulations. There were no problems. After a few minutes, they left the perimeter behind. Nice. Oh, it's beautiful. I really like it. I really like that part of that story, guys. We are going out of the perimeter. It's really cool. The dirt road brought them into the forest. Everyone immediately took off their wigs. After a few miles, they reached the highway, or more precisely, what was left of it. Yeah. It didn't get any easier. The SUV moved slowly, and Farouk had to constantly jerk the steering wheel left and right. The asphalt left behind by the people before them and stood the test of time in some places, but generally and I inevitably lost the battle in others. Holes and bulging cracks were everywhere, overgrown with grass and bushes. In some places, the rain had washed away the soil and the road was hidden underground, its faint imprints the only reminder that it was once there. Mark soon took the driver's seat, giving Farouk a rest. Lou looked out of the window curiously. The forest gave way to a small meadow, and then they were again surrounded by densely growing trees. Lou saw the rotting carcass of a car sticking out of the ground, then another. Gradually, unidentifiable buildings with dark hollows for windows began to flicker behind the foliage and wind with greenery as small trees grew right on their roofs. Some of them looked more like strange hills than houses. They had to stop a couple of times to pull aside the trunks of fallen trees that blocked the path. Once they had to fill a deep and narrow hole with dead wood. Lou now perceived the open space beyond the perimeter differently. It wasn't just pristine nature, but a lost civilization. Knowledge came to life in her mind. Around her, images from books, films, and photographs came into being. She felt a strange chill settling inside her. It felt creepy. The evening's drive gave her even more of those impressions. They drove onto the street of some unknown town. Oh, I like it so much. I really like that scene. We are now on the town. And nobody's living here. It's so interesting always. Like an old campus, old summer camp for kids, and nobody already is using that place, and it's so old and broken, and I really love this atmosphere so much. Post-apocalypse atmosphere. I don't know why. For me, it looks amazing. Welcome. Thank you. For me, it looks amazing. And for now, I will come back after 1 minute. So it's one of the coolest episode for me from that novel. I will come back. The SUV stopped at a house that was more well preserved than the others. Wait. Driving on these roads in the dark is risky. We could lose our wheels in a pothole. Pothole. I suggest we spend the night here. Nobody objected. Everyone got out of the car, looked around, and stretched their legs. There are no blossoming plants inside. You don't have to wear masks. There couldn't be any human remains there. Everything had clearly decayed long ago. Only clumping metal, concrete, and plastic remained. But Lou still felt uneasy. It was the same feeling she had as a child standing in the crematorium hall after her father's death. Danielle was uncomfortable too. She shivered as she whispered, "I've never seen anything worse than this." Farouk heard her. He threw his backpack over his shoulder and said, without any trace of mockery, "Lucky." "Have you seen worse?" He looked at Lou and asked. "Apart from the gallows?" "Leave that chit-chat for later. Reed, grab whatever you need from the car. Let's not just stand here, let's move." They took shelter from the wind behind the walls of the building's first floor. There was no need to go any higher, especially since the reliability of the stairs and ceilings was questionable. While they were settling down, Farouk began to wander around the house, gathering branches for the fire. "Yes, shall I help?" "Use Vector." Lou looked around. She saw a fallen tree on the other side of the street. The man followed her gaze. "That's..." He fell silent, watching as the trunk was trudged through the dust toward them. "Move aside." Lou suddenly changed the directions. The tree crashed into the corner of a neighboring building and crunched, breaking in half. Convenient. 1 second. She threw the upper part of the trunk into the air. As it struck the ground, the impact knocked several small branches off. "Is this easier to carry?" Mark jumped out the doorway, holding a gun in his hands. He assessed the situation quickly, then lowered his weapon and yelled furiously. "Next time, do me a favor, Reed, and smash your head against the house too." "Sorry for scaring you. I should have warned you about the noise." "With a level of idiocy this high, you should hang a warning sign around your neck." "You can keep your sign. I apologize." Not letting the fight escalate, Farouk spoke in a cheerful tone. "This is great. The firewood is dry and there is a lot of it, so we definitely won't have to ration it, Monsieur Jansieur. Mademoiselle, would you be able to break that branch again?" Turning away from Mark, Lou nodded. "Yes, of course." With an unhappy expression, Mark went back into the house. Together with Danielle, he cleared a place among the debris for the sleeping bags, then began to lay out biscuits and canned food from their backpacks. "Yes." Meanwhile, Lou and Farouk brought the firewood inside. The improvised camp was set up conveniently and quickly. "Wow, looking After a brief discussion, they decided to take turns keeping a watch throughout the night. Mademoiselle Weiss, as you do not have any combat training, this does not include you. Farouk, you will be the last on duty. I will be second. Reed, you take the first shift. The first shift is the easiest as you don't have to fragment your sleep, stopping and starting. The second, meanwhile, is the hardest. Monsieur. Mark forced out a sigh. What now, Reed? He sure is in a crappy mood. Why did you distribute the shifts like that? I don't need to be coddled. Because that's what I have decided. Initiate. His voice softened a little. Think of the shifts as being distributed according to experience. This should put an end to this discussion. Heading to his sleeping bag, Monsieur said, You will have a hard time serving with a character like yours, mademoiselle. Lou stayed silent, thinking to herself, I guess you're talking from experience. As everyone began to get more comfortable in their sleeping bags, Lou quietly went outside. In the light of the setting sun, even though at least she had something to do, the desolation made her feel sad. As she looked at the back outlines of the houses against the night sky, Lou felt a dark, dull melancholy. At night, one could imagine that the town had just been abandoned. But she knew that everyone who had lived there had died many years before, like they did everywhere else. Everywhere. Her head spun with thoughts of what had been lost. Billions of people who never learned to appreciate their world gone. Have we learned to appreciate it now, or are we just scared of it? Привет, нормально. Как у тебя? Can we do this? Can we take care of it? Our little island of life, a new beginning of civilization. Or will we do everything wrong again and go extinct, finally setting free this exhausted planet? Да, охренеть. A small animal rustled through the foliage in the darkness. Pebbles creaked underfoot, grass rustled. A bird hooted. It sounded like an owl, the kind they showed in old movies. Lou looked into the neighboring house. There was a pile of trash at the entrance. Among the branches and wind-blown leaves, she could recognize half-decomposed plastic, some tubes, a few jars. Lou picked at the debris with the toe of her shoe, then bent down. Covered in dirt in a pile of unrecognizable junk, there was a doll. Its once pink plastic body had long faded, turning a deadly gray. Its hair was rotten. The empty eye sockets in the dirty doll's face stared up at Lou. Turn away. Lou stepped aside. Far away, at the end of the street, there was a flicker of movement. Wary, Lou peered into the darkness. She noticed a pair of glowing dots. A little to the left, there were two more. A moment later, the unknown animals moved, and the moonlight no longer reflected off their eyes. Foxes? Wolves? What else could it be? Lou didn't make a sound or scare the animals away with telekinesis. Instead, she returned to the house where the light of the fire flickered in the windows. She lit a cigarette and paused in the doorway, listening to the sounds of the night. Farouk silently appeared nearby and whispered, "It's quiet here. In the villages, there is less noise unless it's near a factory or greenhouses. Nature is scarcer. But somehow it still seems quieter outside the perimeter. It's strange, isn't it?" Lou answered in a whisper too. "Maybe because it's creepy without people? Not quiet but dead?" He shrugged. I guess." "Why did you get up? It's too early for your shift." "I can't sleep. You should go to bed." "You said Daniel was lucky." This is not the best kind of conversation to have before going to bed. Okay. He took his flask from his belt and twisted the cap, but paused without drinking. I had served in the corps for a year at that point. They found a hole under termitory. It was walled up. The police carried out a raid. They chased junkies through the tunnels. Then, by chance, they came across a blocked passage. The patrol officers told doctors that there might be some kind of infections there. After all, the chemicals were old. That was the protocol, which you probably know about. 5 AC officers were sent to guard the doctors. 3 of them stayed upstairs with the police to guard the entrance. Another guy and I went with the doctors. We went down and broke through the masonry. It was dark. We ended up in a hole and fumbled with our flashlights. Farouk took a sip and shook the flask, offering it to Lou. "No, thanks." Tightening the cap and returning the flask to his belt, he continued. There were bodies, side by side. Shit. The masonry was chipped and scratched. Those people were walled up after the storm. Their corpses didn't decompose. They dried out like mummies or something. Moisture probably couldn't get in there. I don't know much. That's what one of the doctors said back then. When he stopped throwing up, that's it. I still remember the bags filled with remains that were carried out all day until evening. 87 bodies. Who failed them? And why? Fuck knows. Wait, the masonry was scratched? Oh my god, were they walled up alive in there? Farouk looked at her. His silence was a clear answer. He nodded at the fire. Go to sleep. Great talk. Good night. Lou climbed into her sleeping bag and zipped up the flap. She closed her eyes. The crackling of the fire was soothing and lulled her to sleep. But suddenly there was a long, hoarse howl. Startled, Wei stood up. What was that? Slightly illuminated by the light of the fire, Mark answered slugishly. Wolves. The Inquisitor rode over. They are far away. They won't come near us. It smells like smoke in here. Lou's first night outside the perimeter passed peacefully. The road got surprisingly better, but the holes and plants made it hard for them to go any faster. The group estimated that they would reach their destination before dark that evening. At around noon, Farouk swore in a particularly colorful manner and braked in front of a ruined bridge. That's it, we have arrived. Daniel sat confused. The reports indicated that the condition of the bridge was satisfactory. Either no one has been here in years, or the person who wrote that report had wings. Putting on a protective mask, Mark got out of the car and walked to the edge of the cliff. The others followed suit.
Should we continue on foot?
A wide stream ran along the bottom of the ravine. It was shallow, but both banks were muddy, mixed with stones and overgrown with grass. The opposite slope was steeper, too steep, even for their SUV.
It doesn't look deep. And there, if you go left, the slope is gentler, but we still won't be able to drive. We will park the car in the stream. Then we will have to walk there and back.
He kicked at a lump of clay, annoyed.
There is nothing to hook the winch to.
Lou examined the slopes and estimated the angle of the climb on the other side.
Let's try to drive through. Fred?
Good idea. She turned to Farouk.
You said there is a fairly gentle slope on the left. If we secured the winch on the other side, we had be able to drive up, right? Possibly. What if I use telekinesis instead of the winch? On the way back, we will cross the same way. Shall we give it a try? If you have enough strength, yes, Monsieur Johnsieur. Get to work, Reed. Walking through the meadows beyond the perimeter is not particularly pleasant. Are we unloading the car?
Yes.
To make things
easier for Lou, they moved all their luggage to the other side.
Be careful when crossing the stream. Don't slip and swallow any water.
Then Farouk got behind the wheel and looked out the window at Lou. She stood behind the car.
Are you ready?
Lou, trying not to think about how much the SUV weighed, silently gave him a thumbs up.
Well, United won't help us.
The car crossed the stream on its own. To avoid slipping, Farouk drove slowly. Lou followed behind. Then the engine roared in a futile attempt at pulling the car up. Farouk shouted.
Push! Just do it smoothly, don't jerk it. He still dares to boss me around.
For greater stability, he steered the car diagonally, making for a less step but longer climb. The pain in her eyes and the feeling of warm moisture on her eyelids didn't come as a surprise.
Come on, shit!
As soon as the threads of the front wheels caught flat ground, Farouk pressed the gas pedal. The SUV jerked and jumped off the slope. Lou turned away from the sun and rubbed her eyes.
Motherfucker. How are you, Lou? I'm holding up.
Farouk honked happily.
Oh, yes!
A flicker of sympathy flashed in Joncieur's eyes, but he only nodded at Lou and said dryly,
Great job. Thank you.
After wiping off the blood, Lou wanted to help the others load things back into the trunk, but they wouldn't let her.
Your eyes are watering. Sit in the car and rest.
Mark opened the door for her.
Take care of yourself, Reed.
Lou didn't object. It hurt a lot. She put on her glasses and closed her eyes. Less than an hour later, they continued their journey through forested hills. Mark again took over her for Farouk, who managed to sleep despite the bumpy road. From time to time, mushrooms growing near the road would get under the wheels. Their crushed caps threw gray clouds of spores into the air. Wow. Wow. Lou had no doubt that upon their return, a long and throughout chemical treatment awaited not only the car but everyone on that trip. The sun had barely touched the tops of the trees when the group reached their destination. Really dangerous, guys. Wow, this is the place, guys. This is the place where they made these experiments. It looks like this. Thank you. It reminds of a stalker. Okay, the next episode will be very cool. I'm saying, guys, the next episode will be very cool. Lou and shots from the past. Shots from the past. The next episode will be very cool. It's true.